Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Rated R for Recovery, ratedrforrecovery.com. We're brought to you in part by Sovereign Health, with offices here in Fort Myers and all around the United States. See them at sovhealth.com. We broadcast every Thursday night live from Second Chance Studio, located at the Second Chance Upscale Resale Store, 12873 South Cleveland Avenue in Fort Myers, Florida. And if you can't listen to us as a podcast on our website, ratedrforrecovery.com, you can hear us Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. on 1240 a.m., 1270 a.m., and 97.3 FM, CBS Talk Radio. I'm an alcoholic that doesn't drink, I'm a drug addict that doesn't use, and I'm a dead man that walks amongst the living, all this by no righteous deed of my own, and you can call me John.
Hi, John. And I'm just a nice girl who could never say no. My name's Joy. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Joy, and we have a great show, as we always do each and every week. We're pretty blessed with that, don't you think, young lady?
Always.
Okay, and to prove to the people listening at home that there's a studio audience here, would you guys make some noise, please?
They're out in full force tonight.
I like that a lot. Now, normally, we have a format that we do our show in, and the first segment is usually an addict and alcoholic, what they're like, what happened, and what they are like today through whatever means of recovery they chose to pursue. However, tonight is a different story. Ed Horn and I go back some probably 5 years, would you say, at least? And gentlemen, would you talk right into your microphones when you do, please? I'd appreciate it.
Come on
And
up.
Ed and his friend Dan here are involved in a ministry called Kairos Inside. Is that correct?
Correct.
First of all, would you welcome them to the show? So like I said, we're going to do something a little different, and we're going to talk about what is Kairos. So would one of you please so eloquently tell us what Kairos Ministry is?
I'm not sure about eloquently, but Kairos Prison Ministry is basically that. It's a ministry inside the prison. And we go in for a 4-day weekend and basically have
So you're in jail?
Yeah,
Oh.
in prison, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We go to, Dan has gone to, we go to DeSoto Correctional in Arcadia. Dan has also gone to
And that's DeSoto
Charlotte.
County, Florida.
Correct.
Yeah.
But we go in and it's a 4-day program that we go through, and there's different talks that we present. And
How long has Kairos been in existence?
I think we're close to 50,
Yeah,
40
it's
years,
been a long time.
somewhere around there. But we've been going into DeSoto for about 30.
Did
Wow.
you say 30?
30 years.
Wow,
Yes.
that's a long time.
Yeah.
So you go in for 4 days.
Yeah.
And you don't go in and out. You don't come home. You
No.
stay there.
we
Well-
actually, we go out, there's a church there in Arcadia that we bring air mattresses and we sleep in their gymnasium. And that's kind of our home base, because they don't let us actually stay in the prison. We're there basically from like 7 in the morning to 7 at night.
Yeah, they don't let us bunk in the prison.
If
though.
they don't put you in there, they don't let you stay.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
I know that all too well. Now, do you live with the inmates for those 12 hours? Do you eat the chow that they eat and stuff like that?
No.
No.
We're very blessed that one of the things that Kairos Prison Ministry does is that we have people like the ones sitting here and the people listening that help us out, because it is it's a nonprofit ministry, and people help by donating, and the money that we raise is used for multiple things, supplies that we'll need on the inside, but it also enables us to bring food in that the brothers in blue, we call them, would not see otherwise.
Such as
Pizza or
Chicken.
McDonald's,
Chicken.
things that...
Subs. yeah.
Whopper, Subway, things like that they're not going to have the opportunity to get. And it's kind of a hook, because
I'm going for
you'll
the
hear a
food.
lot of the guys that say, I signed up for the food.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
There was one gentleman that actually, when I was sitting with him on Thursday night when we first went in, we gave him his pizza. He had 4 pieces of pizza, and he was just sitting there staring at it for maybe 10 minutes.
Oh.
And
We
I
get
asked
that a
him if
lot.
he was okay. Did he get the pizzas that he wanted? And he looked at me and said, I really haven't had a pizza in 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was, and some of those things are really impactful for them. But at the end of the weekend, they have an opportunity to come and talk about their experiences of the weekend. And they talk about how, sometimes they come for the food, but when they got there, they were fed in an entirely different way. And really, that's why we go in.
You're not a recovery ministry per se. However, the great percentage, and it's in the 90 percentile of people that are locked up are drug and alcohol related.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that, first of all, the
Yeah.
people that you come in contact
We
with?
do see a lot, yes.
What are you bringing? What kind of message are you bringing to them?
Well, just a standard message that, we have a Savior, that Christ lived and died for us.
Okay, well, that's not necessarily a standard a message if I'm a Muslim.
No, not if you're not a Muslim, but we have had some Muslim brothers. We've had some Jewish brothers.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what religion they are. They can all come to Kairos.
So what I'm trying to get to is that you can relate to the people here in the audience and at home what Kairos is. We're not going to take for granted anything. So it is a Christ-centered ministry. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes,
Correct.
and we let them know that day one. We
Okay.
let them, we're here because of what God has done in our life.
Mhm.
And it's our opportunity to share with them. And we don't ask them to make any kind of commitment. We're not going to force anybody to do anything. It's all up to them. But the Holy Spirit moves on those weekends.
Have either one of you ever been incarcerated? Do you have that kind of story to tell?
It depends upon what you mean by incarcerated.
Oh, exactly. So talk to that briefly.
Okay. I spent a night in county.
A night.
A night. A
I
night
spent
I
an
won't forget.
evening.
A night I won't forget. But it was one of those things, though, that not only from my experience, but because I had wanted to do Kairos actually before that happened. Because I had heard of Kairos, and I kept saying, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. I just felt the calling to do it, but I kept putting it off. And said, now's not a good time, I'm busy, or I can't do it that weekend. And I finally came to the point where some Kairos guys showed up at my church, and they did a little presentation, a little outreach presentation, and they had a clipboard for you to sign your name on. And it was actually, I went out to, one of the things I did at the church was I went and counted the people and, did that whole thing for the attendance. And I went out to go to the where the kids department was to count how many kids we had. And I walked by that table where that clipboard was laying. And neither one of the Kairos guys were there. But I signed my name on that thing. And about 3 months later, I got a call saying, I want you to work this Kairos weekend. And I'm like, great, I'm not gonna put it off this time. There's gonna be no excuses. I'm gonna do it. What are the dates? And it just happened to be my birthday.
Oh.
And so my wife was, you can't do it. You can't be in on your birthday. I'm like, no, I'm doing it. I'm doing it this time. And so I spent my birthday on the inside. Nobody knew that until after I got out. But I couldn't put it off any longer. And it was one of those things I said, I'm going to do it once and check it off my list and say, okay, I've done Kairos. It's done. All right, next. But once I experienced a Kairos weekend and saw the transformation that God brings upon the brothers in blue that are on the inside, I can never say no again.
This means a lot to you.
It does.
I know you very well, and you're getting emotional talking about it. And I want to tell something up to the audience. I kind of chuckled. You said, I did a night in the county. Mm-hmm. I've done so many nights in the county that I can't tell you how many nights in the county. And I can remember being in a treatment center one time, and a gentleman came in, and his biggest problem was that he bought a 12-pack of Budweiser on a Friday on his way home from work, and it was gone on a Sunday. Mm-hmm. Now, what I did, which was a big mistake, was I compared. How are you going to come in here and talk to me about drinking a 12-pack when I'm a 135-pound eat-out-of-dumpsters drug addict that is locked up more than I'm a free man? How can we compare that? But what I didn't listen to is his heart, that he felt just as powerless and his life was just as unmanageable on that 12-pack of beer than it was on my lifelong alcohol or a drug addiction binge that I would go on.
Yeah, and I also want to speak to the fact that you may be sitting out there thinking, what does that have to do with me? Well, what I really liked when I heard you say it was on your heart to do and you kept putting it off. So when something comes on your heart to do it, pay attention to those things. And we put it to the side, we put it to the side, we put it to the side. Finally, it comes right in our face. And then we go, oh, okay, I'll do this. And then you never know what you're going to find. He found such a blessing and something that he's been following ever since.
Dan, what got you involved with it?
I actually was asked to go through Kairos probably in 2004. And unlike Ed, I did not want to go to prison. And I was being asked for probably 3 years, and I kept saying no. I didn't want to do it. But, there was a moment, woke up in the middle of the night. It was one of those quiet times. It was just wide awake, and I just felt God on my heart, and I just knew that I needed to go, and I needed to go into prison.
You get a lot of your people, because I'm sure the prison puts out this sign-up sheet, right?
Yes.
And we all talk when we're locked up, and they know they're going to get special food. They're going to get out of their normal daily routine, nightly routine, or date, whatever,
Right.
however long these sessions last. And like you said, Ed, it's a hook. I get to eat different food because if you've ever, if you ever been incarcerated, how many people with clapping have been incarcerated in this room? The food sucks. Okay, the food is not good. You don't get a lot of it, so that would entice me. I know that. And because you could see the worst looking thing on Taco Bell and it looks like filet mignon on television when you're locked up. So you get these people. Day one is Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And describe to us what the introduction to Kairos is like I was a prisoner.
Okay. Well, we go on Thursday afternoon. We're actually there Thursday morning setting up. But we meet the participants, our brothers in blue, on Thursday evening, just before dinner. And each one of us that go in, we have a sponsee, and we become their sponsor for the weekend. And so it's a one-on-one kind of thing. And so that first evening, it's getting to know your sponsee. And so they feel like they have somebody, that they can connect with. And we tell them, hey, I'm going to be here all weekend. You have any questions? You have any problems? Come talk to me.
So how many people go in?
Well, it just depends upon how many volunteers we can raise. If we can get enough volunteers from the outside to go in, we'll do 36 participants.
Wow.
And
And we'll have about 40 team members.
Yeah.
You're listening to Rated R for Recovery, ratedrforrecovery.com. We're talking to Dan and Ed from the Kairos Prison Ministry. What are the second and third days like?
Well, Thursday night, like I say, is kind of a getting to know each other. We do introductions. Everybody tells us who they are, a little bit about themselves. One of the things that we do not do, though, is we never ask what you're in for or how long you're in for. That doesn't matter. We're there for another reason. And so second day, we gathered together once again, talked with our sponsee. Did you have a good night? You're looking forward for today. And then basically we go into what we call the talk room. It's just off the chapel, a little area that we can go in. And we have tables set up, and we have 9 brothers in blue. And we have a table leader, an assistant table leader, and a clergy at each table. And basically then we hear a series of talks done by both lay and clergy. And they are then asked to, they take notes, and then they're asked to talk about what they felt. And we also do some things like posters and some things like that will,
Kind of start like...
kind of icebreaker kind of things.
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Yes, it
forming
does.
kind
It
of
does,
like
yeah.
small
A lot of
groups.
people
Sounds
probably
like-
have experienced that
Sounds
on
like
the
a
outside.
retreat.
Yes,
Like
yes.
And do they, the people, the brothers in blue,
Uh-huh.
are they, I'm not going to say physically confrontational, are they judgmental about what you're doing? Here I am, you don't know my pain, you go home to your wife and your kids every night. Because when I initially was getting locked up all the time, and people would kind of try to come in and talk to me, I was very arrogant, angry, and you don't know what I'm going through type of person. That's what I was like.
And we do experience some of that. And once again, we're not there to judge. We're not there to even try to say that we know what they are going through or what their life has been like. We're just there to say, you know, we all got junk. We've all been through stuff. We're all the same. You're no different than me. No matter what your circumstances are, no matter what you've been through, you're a child of God and a person of worth.
Nice.
And that's the basis we go in on. And I was talking earlier, and we are a non-denominational, and so we'll have volunteers from all different churches and all different denominations and walks of life. And that's one of the things too that they see is the way that we get along, even though we may not agree on everything as far as our denomination goes. We agree on the one thing that is the most important thing. And that's, we go in there, and it's one of those things. They see us getting along. They see us offering them that same kind of friendship that we show one another, and it kind of breaks down some barriers because they realize that we are genuine.
They can see the respect and caring and
What
just normal
Yes.
conversation that you have with each other.
We're gonna have to go to commercial break after this. But what are some of is there some mind-blowing experience that you've had through the years that you can share with us before we go to commercial?
Probably too many to talk about.
Give us one.
Well, one of the things we do in Kairos is we tell them also that everything that goes on inside there is confidential. And we don't go out and tell their stories to anybody, because some of them are going to tell us things that they've never told another human being before. Kind of like, sometimes in recovery, you'll be in one of the small groups. And so we hold that confidentiality. So there's a lot of things that, we're just not going to go there as far as letting them know. And we let them know that. And we stick to that. And, but we have seen just so many things. I mean, one guy in particular I can talk of, and I'm not going to mention his name, and I'm not going to go into his whole details, but he went in when he was 17 years old. He has a 50-year sentence. He told me this. I didn't ask, but he told me. And he was just the sweetest guy. He was a guy that you'd want to be friends with. Smart, intelligent, articulate, just messed up. And to see him come to forgiveness, because part of the thing that he was dealing with was he could not forgive those that he was with when he was caught.
Yeah.
And to see him come to forgiveness, and to see him realize that that's what he needed, and that he needed Jesus Christ in his life. And to see him from going, the guy like this, that I don't want to hear anything about God, to hugging people at the table and saying things like, I never would have spoke to you on the yard. I never would have talked to you at all. But now we're brothers.
And in the space of 4 days.
Yes.
Do you get to see him repeatedly throughout the years?
We do. That's one of the things that's also good about Kairos, is because we go back. A lot of prison ministries go in and say, we're good. It's nice to see you, and here, let's talk about God, and let's, but then they don't go back. We return every month. We have a reunion, and any of the Kairos graduates that are there can come to the reunion, and we have a time of worship together, and
food.
No, we don't have food.
Okay,
on those
just
nights.
Just checking. All right.
But we then have a time to share and a time to break into small groups and do, prayer and share groups kind of thing.
So if you go in once a month for a reunion, then how often do you do the weekend?
Weekends are twice a year, normally around April, and there's one coming up right now, October, the end of the month, 27th through the 30th. We have a team that will be in DeSoto. Of course, there's other facilities do them at different times, and that's just the one that I'm familiar with, DeSoto.
I think Charlotte's going in a week or two.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, in our next segment, after we come back from commercial, we're going to have a man and a woman that were touched by Kairos Ministry inside and are here after their sentence to tell us about it. Give Dan and Ed a nice round of applause. You're listening to Rated R for Recovery at ratedrforrecovery.com. We'll be right back. Now, the object of Kairos is to go in and touch somebody's heart in some way that it changes them or sets a light off or plants a seed. What was your experience, Ronnie?
Well, with Kairos, it definitely changed my life. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. Probably for like 20, 25 years I was over there. Grew up on the streets selling drugs, started using drugs. The beach was my favorite spot. I skip school, go to the beach. And I ended up in prison twice. The second time I went through Kairos, it was amazing.
How old were you?
I don't know. I was there from 29 to 33, somewhere in there, probably 32.
And how long was that sentence you were serving?
54 months.
I'm sorry?
54 months.
That's not a short period of time.
No.
That is not a short stretch.
Yeah.
Was it like we talked about? You signed if you saw a sheet on the wall and you signed up for it?
Yeah, that's actually a story in and of itself. I was at a work camp where the main camp closed down, so our work camp got transferred to another camp in another county. I went on a medical call out to the main unit, and some odd reason that I can't figure it out to this day besides saying it was God, I got stuck on that compound for like 3 weeks. Nobody, lieutenants, sergeants, classification, nobody could tell me why I was at this camp. And we went to where they show the movies, and one of my friends came up with this paper and told me, here, Kairos something. I was like, nah, man, I'm all right.
I'm straight.
Yeah, no thanks.
Good.
And he told me, just like they said, nah, they bring in food, sign up, all right, I'm in, hands down. And
The food got you.
550 people signed up, 35 got chosen. I'm not even from this camp.
Wow.
And I got chose. Yeah, I mean, it's just, and right after I got done with Kairos, the very next week I transferred back to my camp. It's just amazing.
All right, for those of you that are in a 12-step program, what's our second suggestion? Anybody? No one? Joy?
Second suggestion?
Our second step. They're back in the day. Good Lord. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves can restore us to sanity. It's all about the steps. If you're in a 12-step program, these suggestions,
I wasn't
these
given
steps,
any suggestions.
Okay, all right.
All right.
These are, the
Just
old
saying.
manuscripts, that's how it's, anyway. So you're telling me that through no power of your own, that this just fell into place for you.
Yes,
You had no
yeah.
idea why you were there.
Nobody could tell me.
500 people signed up, 35 were chosen.
Yeah.
How did they choose them? Do you never find that?
No, I have no
But you're one of the 35. So you go to this thing on a Thursday night. What happens?
Well, I mean, I've really had no clue. Thursday night, you go, it's like after chow. You go, and it's like an introduction. They have cookies and coffee and all that. And I guess they just gave you a layout. They assigned you, I guess that's when they assigned you to your groups. I was the family of Matthew. And then you come back Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it's an all-day thing. I mean, it's one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life, and
Why?
I was in prison.
Why? Tell us
Because
about that.
I was already reading my Bible, a Christian, but I really hadn't gone straight in my walk. And after that, it's not like night and day. That right after that, after that weekend, I was perfect, but it gradually happened after that. And when I got out, just knowing that I didn't have to come back to these walls because I was with God, and we go to church together. Everything that's in my life now, I have a good job, an amazing wife with a baby on the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
And can I ask, how old are you now?
34, and I got out last year, April 1st.
Right.
April Fool's Day of all days.
I think I met you the day you came to Fort Myers.
Yeah, two weeks, exactly 2 weeks after I got out, I came over here. And
Yeah.
I didn't even plan on coming over here. I was planning on going to Jacksonville, and yeah, God
Obviously.
had a plan. It all worked out exactly the way He wanted it to.
But you were ready. So you were an open vessel. You said you'd already started some things. You were reading. You did this. So that happened all in the time it was supposed to happen, and fell into place. Tanisha, how did this happen for you?
Well, I had been to prison. I went to prison the first time. I signed up for Kairos. I didn't get picked. I went to prison the second time. Signed up for Kairos, didn't get picked. I went to prison the third time.
What was your sentence at this
The first
point?
time was 2.5. The second time was 7, and the last time was 4.5. And this last time, I was bitter. I was mad. I was angry. My brother had got killed November 15th. Kairos sign up was November the 12th. I did not sign up for it. Don't know how I ended up on the list. I just know that when they say Kairos, I'm like, man, I ain't going to no Kairos without them church people. Y'all crazy. So the pastor there called me to
Excuse me 1 second. That's the mind of how we think. The church people are crazy, but no, we're running on the streets,
Yeah.
selling drugs, getting locked up, leaving our families, but the church people are crazy.
And they're crazy.
Go ahead.
So that night, the chaplain called me up and she was like, I want you to attend this. And I'm like, nope. So she asked me again. I said, nope. She said, they're going to have some good food. I said, okay, I'll think about it. So
See, Ed, it's that food.
Well, and isn't it funny that you signed up the 2 times before, and then this time,
never
no.
got picked. So
Yeah.
as you said, I had started reading my Bible and stuff because, they say that God will put you in a place to get your attention. If you don't, and I got in prison in this cell. I was in confinement for 160 days. When I found out right before my brother got killed, I was reading my Bible and stuff, and the Kairos was that Thursday night, and it was like, I'm like, okay, don't worry about it, I'll go. And as soon as I walked through the door, it was like an experience, a feeling that I had never felt before. Because I felt like, all my life I was alone, nobody loved me, nobody cared for me. And when I got there, you could just see 150 people standing here saying, we love you, clapping for you, and you're like, whoa. And that experience changed my life, because I found a love that I had never found before. And they call it agape love, a love that you will only experience once in a lifetime. And I went in there, I was at the table of Deborah, and we had some good food. Yeah. And we sat there, and the thing that touched me the most was they give you a piece of paper, and they say, anybody that ever hurt you in your life, to write it down on this piece of paper. And I had a lot of anger and hurt inside of me. I was mad, I was like this child running, looking for love in all the wrong places. And I wrote down some names on that paper, and we went into this room, and there was a bowl of water there. And they played this song by Halen Baylor, The Sea of Unforgetfulness, and they said to drop this paper down in the water, and when we dropped it, it dissolved. And that's how fast God forgive you. He throw your sins as far as the east to the west. He don't, you give them to him, and they're gone, And at that moment, all the hurt and anger I had, towards my brother, towards my dad, towards my mom, towards everybody, it was like I felt a sense of relief after that, because they told me, God will take all your sins and he put them as far as the east or the west. It's up to you if you want to hold on to them. But I had made a decision that once I gave it over to him, I left it there, And sometimes now, I find myself taking it back. I'll give it to him and I'll take it back. I'll give it to him and I'll take him back. But by the grace of God, I'm still here, going on 4 months clean. So that experience I got out of this year. And this is the longest I've ever been clean, 4 months, because I hit my knees in the morning, I do, I'm working a program now, and Kairos, like I said, when I got out, I did Kairos. I wasn't even supposed to get out. My date to be released was June 14th. After Kairos, they called me to classification, and they said, hey, Gary. I'm like, yeah. They was like, call your mom and tell her to send you some clothes. You're going home. I'm like, what?
Wow.
This was in January the 4th, 2016. I walked out of Hills Homestead Correctional Institution, and I wasn't supposed to be released until June 16th.
Great job.
Yeah.
Great. And you never have to go back.
No.
And you work a 12-step program today?
Yes, I do.
Ronnie, what did you replace the? You just told us that you were selling drugs, you are using drugs. Do you consider yourself an addict and alcoholic?
Nah, I mean, I respect the recovery program to the fullest, but I don't. I don't like obsess over getting high. I never did. It was more about selling drugs, and I started getting high. But I don't knock the recovery program at all.
Okay, and I was alluding to. Go ahead, Joy. You go.
Well, you said what have you replaced that with? What have you replaced getting
That's
high
what I
and
was
selling
going to say.
drugs
What have you
with
replaced the
in your
lifestyle
life?
with? That's all I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
I believe, for me,
Yes.
that it's all God. I stay in the church. I serve in my church. I work and I spend time with my family. It's all that I care about. It's just what I want to be. I've done everything. You name it over there on the East Coast. I'm over it.
And it's 100% effective, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. See, that's what I was just about to allude itself to. Lots of us are in the 12-step programs, whether it be whatever A it may be. But the basic text of the 12-step programs will tell us right there, we do not have a monopoly on recovery. There are all different ways to get clean and sober and to stay clean and sober. Now, I subscribe to one way because it's the way that I was taught and it works for me. Ronnie, on the other hand, subscribes to the way it works for him. Tanisha and Joy do it the way it works for them. So, and that's what our show is all about. We want to know, in this case, for this show, about Kairos Ministry. We also want to know how the heck you were able to stop living a life that, like for me, as a criminal. I was locked up more than I was not locked up in the last 5 years of my addiction. So how do I not live that way anymore?
Right.
How do I not put these substances in my body to alter my state of consciousness? And how do I change the way I'm thinking? And for those of you that might be new in a 12-step program, the 12-step program subscribes itself to exactly what Ronnie said. The single purpose of what we do is to show each other what may be done to enlist the aid of a power greater than ourselves and rely all we do on that power. So it all comes down to one thing, and that is?
God.
Amen. Amen. Tanisha,
Yes.
this healing process, is it still ongoing for you?
It's every day. Yeah.
Still makes you emotional to think about that time that when you wrote those names down, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Because a lady told me she said forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about you.
Right.
And while I'm around here, holding on forgiveness and being angry and stuff, that person's still living their life. They still happy, they still okay, but I'm the one miserable. And, choosing for me, my hurt and anger caused me to go out and use drugs because I didn't care. I didn't feel nothing. I was numb, so it was easy for me. But then when it was all said and done, the problem was still there,
Right.
And for me, I choose a 12-step program,
Right.
I've been clean going on 4 months, as long as I've
Amen.
ever been clean,
Amen.
and it's just, I do what I got to do this time.
Amen. Ronnie, did you have a hard time forgiving yourself?
That's definitely a good question. When I was inside, one of my friends, I read my Bible, and this was after Kairos and all that, and he looked at me and he asked me, he's like, do you ever think you're going to have to answer for all the lives you've ruined? It never even crossed my mind. That I'll never forget him looking at me, and I've prayed on that for so many nights. I mean, it definitely threw me for a loop, just having to realize that, and I mean, it's something I had to get over. But forgiving myself, I don't even know, I don't know.
Well, I'll answer for me. That I have to have forgiven myself. It was only until I offered and accepted my own forgiveness that I was truly able to grow in my recovery. Now, that's a quote from one of the readings of a fellowship I subscribe to. I go through a process that teaches me that when I complete or keep working these things that I'm assigned to do, that the healing takes place, because if God forgives me, which I'm taught, then who am I not to forgive me?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have some things in my past that I do regret.
We all, I'm sure, regrets, yeah.
Yeah.
W-
But today I don't get to feel sorry for myself over it. I don't get to keep doing those things just because I'm stuck in a hole. I do the best I can every day, and I stand ready to make amends, and I'm being able to do some of that today through the people that I hurt the most. After 19 years, a few of them are now speaking to me, and so it is my job every day to do my best to listen to them, to answer to them, to be accountable for myself, to stand up and say, yes, this is what I've done, and I've hurt you, and I acknowledge that, and how can I make that better today?
And the biggest joy that comes from that joy is to be able to find another person that feels the same way you do, and that you can share your experience with that person on how you have recovered from that seemingly hopeless state.
It is, but even more important than that for me is finding somebody who has walked the walk that I have to walk today,
Yeah.
and to ask them how they did it, and then to share that with someone else. And God puts those people in my life right
Amen.
at the right time. I'm talking with two people who are going through the same thing, that I am now, and we hold hands and walk forward.
Right. I think that's what I was trying to attempt to say. So thank you for that. Give Ronnie and Tanisha a nice round of applause. We have a fabulous original music artist. He'll be up next. You're listening to Rated R for Recovery and RatedRforRecovery.com. Our musical guest tonight, Ricky Reinoso, we met some years back. Ricky, you were actually at a treatment center, right?
That is correct, John.
And it was part of Salvation Army,
Yes, that is also correct.
a Christian program called Crossroads.
Yes, it was.
And you completed that, and you have stayed clean and sober ever since?
Yes, I have.
Wow.
It's been since July 14th, so it's been a year and a couple of months.
Nice. Very good. Congratulations. Now, Ricky, when we met, we realized that you had an extreme musical talent, great vocalist, great songwriter, and we spent some time in Miami with one of the members of the Wailers as they recorded you and listened to you and gave you lots of encouragement. How did that meeting affect you?
It was amazing to get a professional perspective and an inside look of how the music thing works, and it was a blessing. I mean, through that program, when I lost everything, sometimes you gotta lose everything to find God, which is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I found more blessings in that experience that it's unbelievable how God had his hand on me this whole time.
So that's the guy you took over there.
That's right. And Leroy asks about you to this day, actually. So, Ricky, what are you going to do for us right now?
I'm gonna do a couple original songs. One I haven't played before. It's a nice worship song. It's "How You Love Me." It's something that it's a great thing for me to connect with God and just be in the moment. And then,
Have at it then. Ricky Reinoso, ladies and gentlemen.
thank you very much. Here I am, I worship you, Lord. Here I am, I worship you, Lord. I need you now, I need you now. Deliver me. Here I am, I worship you. Here I am, I worship you, Lord. I need you now, I need you now. Deliver me, Jesus. Deliver me, Jesus. Down on my knees I pray, hands to the sky I pray. worship you. Take me as I am. I need you now, Lord. I need you now. Deliver me, Jesus. Deliver me, my King. Down on my knees I pray, hands to the sky I pray. All my pain is washed away, all my needs have gone away. How you love me, how you love me. All my pain is washed away, all my needs have gone away. How you love me, how you love me. Father, hold me, don't ever let me go. Jesus, Jesus, hold me, don't ever let me go. You are holy, you are worthy as the Lamb. You're the great I am, I am, I am. You are worthy.
Beautiful.
Great job.
God, I heard your voice, but I always turned you away. You see, darkness is my blanket, and it covers up my faith, and I'm buried in my worries, and I cannot escape. So I'm rising up, 'cause I'm broken down. I'm calling out your name. So lift me up and help me out, 'cause I'm begging for a change. So shine your light down upon me, so I can find my way. And I scream mercy, I scream mercy, I scream mercy, I scream mercy. And I surrender in your name. God, you know I'm sorry if you're the one I blamed. You see, I was lost and lonely and ashamed of all my ways, but through my pain you drew me closer, and with your love I am saved. So I'm reaching out, I need your strength, 'cause I don't ever wanna fall again, no. So hold me close in your embrace, but at least I know I'm safe. And shine your light down upon me, so I can find my way. And I scream mercy, I scream mercy, Lord. I scream mercy, I scream mercy, 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 and I surrender in your name. God, you know I'm sorry for all the things I've done. And God, please forgive me, 'cause I know that I was wrong. But on my darkest hour, you saved me with your love. Now I'm burning, yes, I'm burning Yes, I'm burning, 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 and I scream mercy. I scream mercy, Lord. I scream mercy. I scream mercy, and I surrender in your name. I scream mercy. I scream mercy. I scream mercy. I scream mercy, and I surrender in Jesus' name. Amen.
That's tremendous. We're out of time right now. Come back and join us next week. You've been listening to Rated R for Recovery and RatedRforRecovery.com. Stay sober, my friends.